right? Now, again, we've got some Packers that are going to be hitting free agency here. And I want to know how everyone feels about these free agents as well. All right. Here's what we got. And again, you guys can find this article over in Patreon. We threw this up the other day. Packers set to be current Packers set to be free agents. Who should we re-sign? So now let's approach it from this perspective. Here are the current Packers that are set to hit free agency. And again, we're kind of resetting. We did this a couple weeks ago. We're getting everybody ready because mid-February, we're talking about roughly 2 weeks. We're going to be talking about that window when the restructures typically happen. I want to say that Aaron Jones's restructure in 2023 or 2022, whenever it was, I think it was 2023. Yeah, 2023 happened on February 15th. So I kind of look at that as the time frame there. All right. So now, in terms of re-signing these free agents, now obviously you're going to have until free agency opens to get a deal done, right? So that's why we talked about the contract restructures first. That's coming down the pike first. Then you'll have the combine. Then you'll have the free agent re-signings, right? And we're kind of laying everything out for you in chronological order, if you will, for the offseason. So Rasheed Walker, 25 years old. He'll be 26 soon. Unrestricted free agent, right? Left tackle. His market value, $20.3 million. Would you be willing to pay Rasheed Walker $20.3 million average annual value? The answer is no from me. What number would I attach? I would do 10. I think he's worth 10. He's a good pass blocker. He's not a great run blocker. You don't want to overpay for good. You're willing to overpay for great. Don't overpay for good. We will, if we can get him under market value, I'd be okay with bringing him back. If not, you got to move on. Here's the problem. He's 26 years old, so you're getting younger once again. So if you don't bring Sheed back, again, we got to make sure we bolster the offensive line. Now, at left tackle, Jordan Morgan, in my opinion, is going to be a better left tackle than Rasheed Walker based off what I've seen him playing the tackle position. PFF agrees. Watching the tape, he looks so much more comfortable at left tackle. I think he is the left tackle of the future. I think that was their plan all along. You gather a comp pick for Rasheed Walker. Unfortunately, he was arrested for the gun charges there in New York. That may hurt his stock as well. So that might mean less of a comp pick, if you will, right? So if you got Jordan Morgan playing left tackle, and again, when you look at him playing guard, he had some good games. He had a lot of bad games. When they played him at tackle, I think it was over 4 games. He graded out in the 70s, according to PFF. His efficiency went through the roof. He looks more comfortable there. To me, he's cut from the same cloth as Rasheed Walker. He's a much better pass blocker than run blocker, but I think you're going to get someone who settles into that. He's obviously still ascending. So I think you're going to look up this year and next year and go, wow, that was a big improvement over Rasheed Walker. Now, will he be great to warrant a contract extension? Time will tell. Right now, haven't seen enough, right? We've seen them try to play him at right guard, left guard. They put him at right tackle. They've all over the joint, right? Brian Balaga was talking about that the other day. And, I try to remove my biased opinion and listen to former players, listen to former coaches, listen to former GMs. And Balaga was like, he has not gotten a fair shake. Like this dude, they've tried to move him all over the joint, right? And that's why I think there should be a change at offensive line coach and all that. So if you go with Jordan Morgan at left tackle, you can just move on from Rasheed Walker. I think it's safe to say that's probably the best way to approach it right now. Now, listen, if you have a solid tackle fall to you in the draft, like Parker from Duke is one of my favorite prospects. And again, we'll definitely do a profile on him as we get a little later in the draft cycle. I'm going to see if I can find him real quick to tell you where he's at. And there's several different tackles that kind of grab your attention. Like one out of Iowa, I don't think he'll be available for us, but like Jennings Dunker, he comes to mind. Monroe Frilling out of Georgia, he probably won't be available according to some of the consensus stuff. But the one that does, kind of pop up, like you start to get in that range of like Blake Miller out of Clemson. And then, of course, if I could find him, because I had a decent grade on him. Parker. Here we go. Brian Parker out of Duke. We've got him in the 65 spot. Okay, his grade is 57.8, but he's sitting at 65. The consensus big board has him at 80. The PFF big board has him at 102. If you get into the second round and he's sitting there, that's one of those picks I'd be okay with. Now, why do I mention that? He may come in, compete at left tackle, and they go, he's your left tackle of the future. Okay, Jordan Morgan is just going to be a backup, or maybe kick him to left guard. And unfortunately for Morgan, that will not have been a fair shake, like Brian said, like Bulaga said. But at the same time, it's all about, it's all about getting the best product on the field. So I'm not ruling out that they wouldn't draft a left tackle in the second or third round. I'm just saying you don't have to reach for that, right? So just stick to the board. It may end up being a 3-tech, right? That looks great at that spot. So, all right. Next on the list, Kingsley Enagbare. This one's interesting. Yeah, I'm kind of torn. I want to know what everybody thinks in the chat on Kingsley Enagbare. Yes or no to Kingsley Enagbare at $6 million? It's saying his market value is $6 million. Now, will he get more? Possibly, right? He put some decent tape, although I think it has been kind of over-exaggerated a little bit how well he played. I think he's been good, maybe above average to good. He's definitely not been very good, in my opinion. So I'd say above average to good. Would you guys be willing to pay $6 million to Kingsley? Say yes or no to Kingsley Enagbare. Okay, yes or no. Coach Lynn said yes, please. Right? I feel like that's money well spent. So if there is a player you want to try to bring back, now it's a crowded edge room. However, if you move on from Gary and you free that money up, you keep Enagbare, which I know there's some people that believe that Enagbare's played better football than Rashawn Gary even last year. That's not the case. Like quarterback pressure percentage, Gary had a higher quarterback pressure percentage. Run stop ratio, Gary had a higher run stop ratio. Sacks, Gary had more sacks. Like, and I know he played more, so you got to kind of go sacks by snap type thing. Maybe Enagbare has him in that regard. But again, if you move on from Gary, I definitely want Enagbare back. If you restructure Gary, you probably let Enagbare walk. So Coach Lynn says yes on JJ. Joseph says yes for JJ Enagbare as well. Coach Lynn points out he is ascending. Completely agree. And Kyle Hart in the chat says JJ's still on the rise. That's a good point, Kyle. Dude seems to be getting better every single year, right? Jen Wright says yes on JJ. Soder says no on JJ. Okay. And just to look at the age here, Soder, he's going to be 26 years old. So it's not like one of those that, hey, if you move on, oh, no, we got significantly younger, right? It's kind of that middle of the road type thing. So that's our first no on JJ. Freedom House says yes. You got to be kidding me at that price. Yes, on Kingsley. And that's the big question, right? Is will it get up to 10 million? You know, what's the number that you would say no to? I'm okay with 6. You get around 8. I'm going, no. I feel like we could do a little better. You know what I mean? So let's see here. Wiz Wade, if I'm saying that right. Yes, for JJ. And then Jen Wright says JJ can play more downs. Yeah, that's a good point, right, Jim? Maybe he gets in the groove as he gets more snaps when they move on from Gary as well. Could be the case. So Andy Dubb said he's a good anchor, but not 10. Okay, got it. Paige and Dr. Crutch, yes, at that price, yes. So I think everybody agrees pretty much, maybe just other than 1 or 2, right? Now here's Soder. Soder was one that said no, right? Soder said no. Here's his reason. I want Sorrell to get more snaps. Can't argue with that. Baron Sorrell, when I turn on the tape with JJ Enagbare and Baron Sorrell, I feel like Enagbare is a little bit better than Sorrell, but that was Sorrell's first year, right? Where JJ Enagbare was his rookie year and where Baron Sorrell was his rookie year is like, if you were to compare just rookie year to rookie year, I feel like Sorrell is significantly better, me personally, right? And you guys know, if you were following the show back when JJ Enagbare was drafted, it was my first draft coverage I did for PackerNet. Me and Ryan did a live stream. I was big on him. I was saying the Packers should have drafted him for 2 straight rounds. Like he was the highest guy on my board the whole time. So with all that being said, for the right price, yes, bring him back. But I love what Soder says there because, again, you're talking about progress stoppers. If you bring back JJ Enagbare, it means less snaps for Baron Sorrell, less snaps for Colin Oliver, right? Or less snaps for Enagbare, who might be making $6 to $8 million per, right? So I think, yeah, looking at the chat now, everybody's kind of agreeing, right? Yeah, everybody's saying they agree with that. So Kyle says, I agree, $8 million is a tad rich. Rather give Sorrell more snaps in that scenario, right? You got Jen Wright says, I agree with that. So good morning, Mike. Appreciate you swinging through, buddy. Andy Dubb says, not for 10 million, I'm in. Okay, got it. Joseph says more snaps for Sorrell. So if you had to choose, right? So great point there, Solder. Great point. So there's Enagbare. Next, Romeo Doubs. They're showing the market value at 12 million. I've heard some people say 15 million. I've heard others say he may get close to 20 million. And then I've heard some say he's not worth 10 million. I keep falling on 10 million with most of these numbers. If you notice, if you can get Romeo Doubs back at 10 million average annual value, that means the first year cap hit's going to be about $8 million. If you can get him on a 3-year deal, right? Guarantee a little bit more money, a 3-year deal that you can get out of after 2 years, then what will happen is when you extend Christian Watson to his big contract, you'll be able to manipulate everything to where you'll be able to move on from Romeo Doubs, right? You can do a 3 that's really a 1, or you can do a 3 that's really a 2 and make that cap work within the modeling of the wide receiver room. You got to be thinking about Jaden Reed as well. So really the question becomes, which receiver would you rather have moving forward, Romeo Doubs or Jaden Reed? For me, it's Jaden Reed, because Romeo plays, he doesn't play F, he doesn't play slot, that moving slot position for Matt LaFleur's offense. So I would rather see Matthew Golden. This is kind of like the Enagbare talk, right? We want Enagbare back, right? We think he's a good football player, at least above average football player. But would you want him back at the expense of Barron Sorrell getting minimal snaps? Probably not, right? Same thing with Romeo Doubs. If we could get him back at $8 million, that's great, right? Or $10 million, that's great. But if you do that at the expense of Matthew Golden getting less snaps, me no likey that. That's why it feels like Romeo Doubs is probably you're probably on your way out, unfortunately. And I think Dobby's been a good Packer, man. For a 5th round pick, my guy, I think he was 5th, right? 5th or 6th round pick. My goodness, that's great value by Brian Gutekunst there. So really, those are the 3 that you're looking at. Those are the 3 big names: Rasheed Walker, Kingsley Enagbare, Romeo Doubs. Outside of that, you got Zane Anderson, Nick Neiman, Sean Ryan. Sean Ryan's an interesting one at $6.5 million. If you could get him for $6.5 million, I'd be okay with bringing him back. Your roster stays a little more veteran. You got a guy with backup center experience. Now, will his number jump? I've seen some people say he'll crack the 10 million mark. I don't know about that. Based off what we've seen on tape, he's a good run blocker. I think it's safe to say he's a bad pass blocker. At least maybe this is a better way of putting it. He's a good run, above average to good run blocker. He's a below average to bad pass blocker, right? So you know what you got there, but you got that experience at center. Now you've got Jacob Monk behind him. He graded out well, albeit just 40 or 50 snaps, whatever it is, right? So I'm okay with bringing Ryan back, because if you get him at $6.5 million, I mean, you're talking about the first year cap hit being somewhere between $3 and $5 million. I think it's worth it to have a guy who probably going to potentially, that's another guy that might play left guard for you, right? If you find yourself in a pinch, if you do move on from Aaron Banks and Elgton Jenkins. So going to be really interesting to see how everything unfolds with these future free agents for sure. So if you guys are watching this video back later, let me know in the comments, how do you feel about the future free agents that we just talked about? Let me know if you want them back. Again, those names are Rasheed Walker, Enagbare, Romeo Doubs, Sean Ryan. Let's leave it at that, okay? Enagbare, Rasheed Walker, Romeo Doubs, and Sean Ryan. Let me know in the comments, do you want them back or not? Make sure you hit like, subscribe, click the bell icon so you don't miss out on future live streams like this one.